Hello everyone, welcome back to another web series of Team Favorite Nurse. My name is Adeoti Nyoluwa and I'm your moderator for today. I'm a proud member of Team Favorite Nurse, a registered nurse, midwife and public health nurse. I'm passionate about public health. And right about now, we'll be starting our web series. The theme for this month is the modern man's blueprint for health and vitality. As we all know, we are in Men's Mental Health Month and we have our season speaker ready to dish us with value. So, right about now, as we are joining in, we'll take a minute or two for you to send out the links to your friends, your family, the man in your life, your brother, your uncle. You can send it to your sisters, so everyone can benefit from this topic, not just you being a man. As a lady, anyone or two, you can also share with your friends later on. So the link is up and running. So we'll give you a minute or two to share the link with your friends and family. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So I believe we've shared the videos, the link rather for people, for our friends and family and everyone all over to join. So before we start, I'll be telling us a little about Team Favorite Nurse and what we do. So Team Favorite Nurse is a non-governmental organization with the interest in public health, community participation, health education, and health awareness. It is a team that consists of registered nurses and student nurses all over the country. We've had several health programs, outreaches to school, underserved communities, marketplace, and so on. We've also had partnership with Aware, Females Around the World, Life Alliance, and several religious organizations. So we are committed to serving, we are committed to public health, community participation, health education, and health awareness. Right about now, I'll be reading our speaker's bio. Our speaker is no other person than Dr. Adedeji Marvelous. He is a dental surgeon and mental health advocate dedicated to holistic well-being. He focuses heavily on providing targeted support to help creatives overcome psychological barriers and unlock their highest potential. Driven by a desire to see people thrive, he shares his passion for comprehensive healthcare with his wife, a distinguished psychiatric nurse. So, with no further ado, and our clapping ovation in the chat box, let's welcome our speaker, Dr. Adedeji Marvelous. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. We are so glad to have you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Can I be heard clearly? Hello, can I be heard clearly? Hello,
Hello, sir.
hello,
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
hello. Can I be heard clearly, please?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, team favorite nurse, for the privilege to be here. And I believe that we're going to have a good time sharing and inspiring one another based on this topic. The month of June is the month assigned for awareness for the men's health, mental health, and general well-being. And it's commendable that we are doing this. Thank you very much. All right, so we're taking the topic, the modern man's blueprint for health and vitality. To start with, let me define health. I know a lot of people have different ideas what to them health means, but there is a specific definition for health, and it's good that we take it up from there. That health is a complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual, and it does not just mean the absence of disease or infirmity. And with that, we can start this conversation talking about men's health and vitality. It's important to note that health, the state being in a good state of health, health does not just mean absence of a disease or infirmity, which oftentimes the, a lot of people use to judge whether they are fine or not fine. So the presence or the absence of infirmity or sickness is not just what determines it. Health is a total state of well-being of the physical, the mental, the social well-being of an individual. And that is why it's very important that it is not just when there are symptoms, it is not just when there are complaints of on when someone is not feeling so fine that you now say, oh, it looks like I need to do something. So it's not just only when things go wrong or when things feel wrong that you decide to take an action or to seek help, to seek um care. Many times we know that men they 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 try to man up. Like, permit me to use that word. They tell them, "Oh, why are you so weak? Why this? Why that?" So, with that mentality and idea, mentality and mindset, they often neglect or look away or ignore signs, warning signs, and things that can help to be able to be in a perfect state of well-being, which we all know from the definition of health that I gave, contributes to that determines health itself. Um, when people neglect these signs and they neglect this, they ignore this, it often accumulates and contributes to the condition because the state of health is the state of health is only good, is only fine, is only easy to be able to help somebody's presentation when it is found early, when someone presents early. But most of the time, men relegate they relegate their state of health down. They believe that the priority is to probably seek get money, probably pursue things, pursue that until symptoms worsen and maybe it now begins to disturb their day-to-day activity. That's when they begin to now pay attention. But with awareness, we notice that there is improvement in the health seeking behavior of women, and it all began with awareness, of which we are doing now with this platform. Awareness um, and improving the public health consciousness of men's health. It would help to improve the social and the health seeking behavior of men and ultimately help men to have a better state of health. So, what are the contributory factors to why men probably neglect their health? Because we have the traditional masculinity and cultural influence that instills that a man must be invulnerable, a man must be strong, and a man must stand up to situations. He must be independent. And with all this alongside the perception of how a man must be, it makes men to um, to want to bear things because it is perceived that when you speak out, when you reach out for help, when you present early, it is perceived to be weakness. So to them, they feel, oh, I'm not a weak person. So because I'm just feeling like this, I can still undo it. And what that silence, what that neglect um, causes, the effect is innumerable, is disturbing. When you look at the the effect on men, find out that the men are likely from this. These are epidemiological facts that men are likely to die, to have a mortality. The mortality rate for men is like 5 years below that of women. So in layman terms, it means that men are likely to die 5 years below the age of their counterparts, female counterparts. And we also see that it's a proven fact that there is increased rate of suicides among men. The rate of suicide among men compared to women is higher, like uh, four to five 4 to 5 times higher in men than women. We also find out that men present very fewer men take their health serious. Few just a few percentage compared to how women pay attention to their health, seek health care, and seek for health care service. It's minimal compared to how men present and how men pay attention. So, but all these all together do not help. They they do not help. They contribute to the awesome productivity of not just the man alone, the family, the everyone surrounding. Because when a man is healthy, the family is healthy, the the home is healthy, the nation is healthy. The next slide, please. Yes. So I mentioned earlier that the state of health is not just absence of illnesses or diseases. It means that uh, it is not only when somebody feels like things have gone wrong that the person should actually pay attention to their health, to their care. There are many aspects of the components of the man's health that needs to be paid attention to: the reproductive, the mental health. At times when we mention mental health, some people think maybe it's for people that have to be changed, people that are in the psychiatric setting. No, the mental health relates to how we are able to handle day-to-day pressure, how we are able to handle social interactions, and every time the body begins to perceive that things are not going well, the body gives signs. And it is very important that we do not neglect, we do not look away from the signs that the body gives. Now, I put here in the slide that frequent headaches at times, because of oh, the person has to do this, the person has to engage in this work, is trying to get money, is trying to source for money. The person may not be getting enough rest. A man may not be getting enough rest, and he might just have headache, and then the man just feels like, oh, let me just take paracetamol, or let me just take this medication, rather than getting enough rest. Frequent headaches might just be a signal that something serious might be coming, and it's very important that these things are paid attention to. And constant exhaustion, it's a sign that predates many other presentation of maybe mental health conditions. So exhaustion constantly, it might mean that attention needs to be paid to something at that point, of which many times are ignored. Trouble sleeping. So people might spend a lot of time surfing social media, and doing different works, trying to do different works together, juggle different works together, and all these things might be affecting their sleep, and they are having trouble sleep. It's very important that when we begin to see these signs, when we begin to notice these things, it's important that we do not just we do not just ignore it, because the body is sending warnings, and most of the time before the body shuts down, it sends you, it gives you warning. It puts across information, tries to communicate, and tells you, can you slow down? Can you pay attention to this? It is only when these signs are ignored that the condition, the symptoms now escalate to another level entirely. I mentioned earlier that the suicide rate amongst men is higher than that of the women. Let me talk a little about the mental health part. I mentioned, I defined the health as a complete state of well-being physically. So in physical, we might be talking about the general body, how the person feels. The mental and social part is also something that needs to be talked about. It's also something that needs to be talked about. How a man copes with the normal stresses of life, how he copes with interaction, day-to-day interaction with men, with others, and how he copes with the pressure and the things that happen, and in such a way that he's able to work productively, have a productive life. So the mental health part is not, I know at times I've heard people talk, oh, it's okay to cry. It's not just about, oh, telling men that it's okay to cry. No, it's about building a wholesome life that is able to live a productive life, able to have a productive social interaction, and able to live healthily, wholesomely within the mind. So to improve the health generally, physical, mental. Let me talk about few things that are helpful, and things that aid um, your mental, your physical well-being. Number one, uh, regular, okay, routine checkups. I put routine checkups as number one here, because uh, if we sample, I know maybe we have a community of people that are illiterate, people that are healthcare workers, healthcare practitioners, but by the time we step out and interact with the average Nigerian, average citizen, you will notice that the except there is a serious challenge, a serious complaint, a man would rarely present himself for routine checkup. He will rarely present himself. It is even when they have symptoms, even when they have complaints, it is only when it begins to affect their day-to-day activities, or when it begins to affect their self-esteem, maybe at home, or their wife is saying something and it begins to get it begins to affect their self-esteem. That's when they may decide that, oh, they need to seek care, they need to present at the hospital for care. But routine checkups, they help to be able to identify the warning signals that the body might be uh, giving at early stages of any condition. They help to be able to undo things, and the illnesses and infirmities are best treated when you're just starting. The prognosis of care is fine and is good when somebody presents and it's just at the very early phase. The earlier, the better. So presenting early, routine checkups. What are the things to check up to look for in your routine checkup? The blood pressure, checking your random blood glucose. It's very important that we also mention this. I know this might be a community of young men, uh, but I know that we'll have older men, maybe our parents, our father, our uncles. Once a man is 50 years and above, it's very important that from 40 years, it's very important that the man presents to have a screening done, screening done, have um, the PSA, the checks, because one of the common peculiar illness for men, the older they get, is the benign prostatic hyperplasia enlargement. And many times it is when they begin to have complaints, it is when they begin to have pain urinating, it is when they begin to have the incomplete voiding that they now present. These things should not be, and with early screening, with early presentation, it can be detected early and managed better. So also diabetes, the random blood glucose for diabetes, it's it's very important that once somebody is able to present early, it can be detected early, it can be noticed, and it can be managed. The prognosis can be better. That will be without complication. That will be without complication. Is for cardiovascular diseases, because men do not present early, and also by the combination of unhealthy diets and unhealthy habits such as smoking and untreated high blood pressure. Many times, men have more presentation of cardiovascular diseases and complications. So, when they present early, when they come for routine, when someone presents for routine checkups, these things can be prevented. It can be prevented. So, I mentioned earlier the prostate screening. So the modern day pollutants and sedentary lifestyles also contributes to decline in global sperm counts. And when people present early, these things can be identified and managed and treated as soon as possible to avoid complications. Regular exercise will help you have a good way to lose fat and have a good body build, have a good physical state of health, and also help men to have a good mental health. Routine exercise, regular exercise. It is encouraged that people have maybe 30 minutes daily, average of 30 minutes daily exercise will will help to be able to stay fit physically and mentally. Physically and mentally. I mentioned earlier that one of the contributory factors to what declines the state of health for many is the lack of sleep. And one of the signs that the body gives when things are going wrong is that the sleep becomes disturbed. So you must prioritize sleep as part of your way of improving and helping, improving and working on staying fit physically and mentally. Prioritize sleep. Prioritize sleep. Also, limit or stop alcohol intake and tobacco smoking. It's very important because this particular lifestyle contributes not just to the risk of non-communicable diseases, it also contributes to the general wholesome lifestyle of the person. So, tobacco and alcohol have been linked as things that increases the risk for cancers of different parts of the body, liver, lungs, oral cancer. Almost every cancer is linked to the intake consumption of these substances. So part of how you can stay healthy and be strong and agile in this present day is to reduce all limits, uh, alcohol or tobacco smoking. At times, for people when they begin to have mood mood fluctuations rather than seek help. It is also found that men find it difficult speaking out about their challenges to maybe people around them. But I believe that it's one of the ways that we can help to stay healthy when, even if you are not going to speak to someone around you, seek help, go to the hospital, go to a place, go to the healthcare setting where you can be able to get proper care, where you can be able to get proper care. At times when people have begin to have symptoms that suggest mental health conditions, they may begin to um, they may begin to have uh, withdrawal, withdrawal from community, isolation, and all these things. So, but by the time you step out, by the time you associate with others, by the time you engage in some of these things that I'm talking about, it will help. And at times, when people begin to get into isolation, they begin to indulge in some of these things that will further complicate situations. Um, alcohol consumption, smoking, just to get themselves out. But instead of uh, the condition getting better, it only gets worse with these things. So yes, healthy diet. The um, the consumption of junks and unhealthy substances has a long-term contribute effect that it contributes to the general health of men, reproductive, mental, physical health. What we eat, what we put in our body is very, very important. And it's good that we emphasize that men eat better. It's not just to look for something just to fill the stomach with. Eat better because it is what you eat that determines how strong the body will be. It's what you eat that gives the body stability. It's what you eat that gives the body good things. At times, all these things are all linked together, both the physical, the mental, and social well-being. At times, how you begin to know that maybe some people are need care or need how you know that at times you need to reach out for help. You find out that there is either extreme unhealthy eating because eating healthy does not just mean that you are eating a lot. At times when you eat so much, it's also a sign that it's unhealthy. And when you do not eat at all, or the quality of what you eat. So reaching out and speaking out, reaching out for care, reaching out to the health. It's not only when you break down. It's not when things go wrong totally and you are not able to function, you are not able to go to work that you decide now, oh, let me reach out for help. It's better when you reach out, even when you can still when you are still out there, when it looks like oh you can still move on with things. It makes things work better. Yes. So yes, in stress management is a whole lot on its own. It's a whole lot on its own, and we know that this our generation. It's a generation that um, a lot of things stresses us. Permit me to stay off altogether. A lot of things and stress management are some of the things I talked about. Sleep, regular sleep. Um, Exercise. These are things that help people to relieve the stress. At times, you might need to turn off your phone. You might need to take breaks. Turn off your phone. If you find out, oh, you are someone that does a lot of social media, and the pressure is building from maybe a particular one of these social media platforms. You might need to go off. You might need to take a break off it. Maybe a day, 1 week, 1 month, depending on what's depending on how how things are going with you. Good sleep will definitely improve um, your mental health and will help you to be able to manage stress. And at times, how you manage part of what you need to do to be able to also manage your stress is to get involved in things that you probably enjoy doing, music, writing, drama. That some men do not they think these things are too soft for men. It's only when things are they look for hard stuffs, jumping, things that can break their back. That's the only thing that they see as men's work. But for in this in this webinar, I would encourage that to be able to maintain health and vitality for us. And it managing stress includes getting involved in music, writing, drama, and any other thing that you are able to that helps you to be able to bring yourself out and that you enjoy. Okay. Next slide, please. Yes. So I would stay a little while on this slide because I put it there that vitality is a decision. It's not an accident. You don't uh, come by to having a good state of health, to be vital, to be agile, to have a good well-being just by accident. It's not a coincidence. It's something that you walk by consistently. It's something that you work at. It's something that you work at. Until you make it a routine thing, until you make it a priority, it is not something you will achieve. So we might have people amidst us here that need you have not even had a checkup for yourself. Maybe you work in the hospital. You've not checked your blood pressure in the last 6 months. You've not checked your random blood glucose. You've not had a routine checkup. And if we have older men listening to this, and you have maybe 40 years and above, and you've not had a uh, prostate screening done, I would encourage you to walk into the a hospital that has the facilities to have that done, just to be sure that you are fine. Also, one peculiar illness with men is testicular cancer, and how that is found early is by testicular examination. Once you notice an abnormal swelling, an abnormal growth in your testicles, it's good that you reach out for help. You do not wait till when things go wrong. You do not wait till when it incapacitates you and you cannot perform your daily function before you reach out for help. So health is about paying attention to your body. Your body will always give you signs. It will always give you signs. The earlier problems are identified, the likely better the prognosis and the options of treatment and the options of treatment. Uh, all right. If we have questions, I would like to answer them now. Questions. I hope I was loud enough and clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So
If
I
there
have a
are
question.
aspects you would want me to elaborate on or speak about, I know I was a little bit fast. I wanted to just be able to touch within a short possible time. All right.
All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful session. Personally, I have learned a lot, and I will be more intentional in men's health and prioritize my health. So I have a question here, sir. Many
Okay.
men know they should exercise on the six habits one now. Many men know they should exercise, sleep better, eat healthier, but they still struggle to stay consistent. So, what are the practical strategies that you found most effective for building long-lasting healthy habits? Because being knowledgeable about it is one thing, but now being consistent. So, what are the strategies? Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
all right. So, to build an habit, you have to start. You don't build an habit from the big parts. So, for example, you mentioned exercise, daily exercise now. So let's say somebody decides that I will do 15 minutes in the morning, I'll do 15 minutes in the evening. You've been able to achieve 30 minutes in a day. 15 minutes looks short. So he does it today, he does it. By the time he's able to do it, 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, 1 month, he can then progress to 30 minutes at a stretch. So start small or start little, start from the beats. Then you can now make progressive increase in what you're doing. Then having a community helps you to build an habit, helps you in consolidating an habit. So you want to be able to run, you want to be able to um exercise regularly. I'm sure there in our different locations we'll find people that um have the same passion or have the same goal too. And with that, you can be able to you can be able to do that maintain that consistency. Okay, maybe it's a group of three, it's a group of five, it's a group of 10. Then you do all running, you eat the gym. So even when someone feels a little bit down and is even when someone feels down and is not motivated, he has other people around him to help him. Also, it's important that you celebrate each milestone. So celebrating each milestone. So for example, you have been able to do 30 minutes every day for 2 weeks. Celebrate it. 30 minutes every day for 1 month. Celebrate it. Maybe a way where you can celebrate it. Oh, I wanted to build this habit and I've been able to do it for 14 weeks. And you make a post about it or you get yourself something. Now, something that it's not something that is against the all these things that we talk about, right? So something that helps and that fits in into the qualities of good diet and contributes to your health positively. So you can give by celebrating your little wins, those little milestones. Now you've celebrated a month of consistent exercise or consistent good habits. Your next target is maybe 3 months, or your next target is 2 months. Then by 2 or 3 months, you look forward to it. Even if you break it at any time, you don't stop, you continue. That's another thing. So the fact that, oh, maybe you missed a day yesterday does not mean that you now sit back like I've missed, I've stopped it. So let me just sit back and stop. No. So if you missed a day, you get up again and you continue until you're able to build that consistency over a long time and it becomes part of your life habits. Have I answered your question?
So, yes, sir. Thank you so much. There's also another question here raised. We know
Okay.
there's stereotype of men speaking of society. They expect one to man up, quote and unquote. So, what roles do friends, family, partners, society at large play in encouraging men to take their health seriously without making them feel judged or pressured? So, how can we break the stereotype?
I mentioned earlier that the part of what contributes to the this overall effect of men's health is how the background, the cultural mindset and ideologies, and then the traditional masculinity ideologies that are programmed into men to make them believe that being a man means that you are independent, being a man means that you are invulnerable, being a man means that you're strong and you bear things. Those ideologies have more destructive effects than positive effects. So the first thing is that we acknowledge that they do more harm than good, especially in this regard. They do more harm than good. So it's very important. Once we are able to establish that, the next thing is what we are doing, which I mentioned earlier that yes, awareness, the awareness, the more we increase the awareness, we are able to tune people the ideology in the society because the ideologies in the society is something that was built. So what we are doing now is we are contributing to the information and the correction of the wrong ideology in the society. So as many of us that are here, part of how we do that is to speak out. The fact that somebody is a man does not mean that he should not pay attention to the signals or to the warnings that the body gives. And the fact that he speaks out does not mean it is weak. The fact that he speaks out about whatever is going, warning signals, how things are, what he feels in the body, does not mean that he's weak. Because if we only wait till when men break down and when they cannot perform their function, we will never be able to even make any progress in terms of health for men. So our first step to be able to make progress and to ensure that we increase and improve the men's health and vitality in this generation is that they identify and they pay attention to the warning, the red flags, the warnings that the body begins to give. They do not wait till when there is obvious or evident infirmity or complications. So,
All right,
have I
sir.
answered that
Thank.
question?
Yes, yes, that was spot on.
All
Thank you so much, sir. And the last question I have here was on stress management that you talked about.
okay.
So how can
Yes, stress
men
management.
switch between normal stress, that's the EU stress, from day-to-day activities, and the bad stress, the ones that indicate a more serious physical or mental health issue?
All right. So, if the um if your stress begins to give you now, okay, if an individual, a man, begins to undergo something that begins to affect the person's self-esteem, it begins to make you irritable, it begins to get you into a state of isolation consistently. Like, it's there might be times the person is someone needs to take a break. Yes, but if there is a cycle, a pattern, repeated pattern of of a trigger that affects your self-esteem, that affects um your concentration, it affects your sleep, it's it affects your feeding, it, it affects the way you interact with the people you are with, and it's a pattern, it's a consistent pattern, or it's a predictive in a predictive cycle, then it's good that such a person reaches out. And I also mentioned some of the things that you might want to try. I want to locate, okay, is the stress coming from a particular activity? Is the stress coming from a particular association? Is the stress coming, or is it just that you cannot identify the stress? In that situation, it's very important that you reach out. You reach out. You don't just cover it up now. Oh, maybe you feel like they will think you are a weak person. You As at that time, your body is giving you warnings. As at that time, your body is giving you um, the red signal. Do something, take action before it becomes a full blown situation or condition. So, um, I think I've talked about how you can identify, how you can differentiate. So, I know we know that it's possible that somebody's workplace can become a trigger for negative stress, negative stress, and at times, by the time you look at the effects, you might have to judge to weigh between that job or leaving the job or your health, because at times, if the workplace is a toxic place and everything you're doing, it keeps get every time you're going to work, you have palpitation, loss of concentration, you are agitated, you're sweating, and everything is going wrong, then it might mean that the time there is off for the sake of your health, for the sake of your health. So, the things I mentioned earlier too can help. If it's just the normal day to day stress, you might just need to mm, talk to your friends, have a timeout, have a timeout, spend time with people, gathering, associations, your religious gathering, be involved. So you step out, you involve yourself with others, then get good sleep, eat good food, and do what inspires you, what you like doing. That's why I mentioned the music, the drama, the writing, and all those engagements. So if all these things do not help, then it means that you need to reach out also.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Adeji Marvelous. And that is a wrap on our webinar series for this month, The Modern Man's Blueprint for Health and Vitality. And we had our distinguished speaker with us, Dr. Adeji Marvelous, who has shared deep insights and values on how we can improve ourselves holistically, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and all aspect of our health. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure you have too. On behalf of Team Favorite Nurse, we say thank you, sir. We thank our wonderful audience too. Thanks for joining in for learning. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and like. The recording of these slides will be made available. The recording of this live session will be made available and the slides so for as many that couldn't join due to one reason or the other. And for those of us that want to go back and watch at our own pace and go through it. Catch you up next time, next month on our webinar series. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and share the links. God bless you all.